Yeah, we're gonna start.
Okay.
So this is Casual with Ryan Proctor, and this is Tony Richardson.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, buddy. I'm on the road again. This is we're in Squamish, and we're at Tony's. Can I say your studio?
Squamish Design Studio.
Yeah, Squamish Design Studio.
Squad Studio.
Yeah, it's cool. Is SDS something you say?
No, we just go with Squad.
Oh, you do. Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Squad.
Okay, Squad.
Yeah.
So Squamish Design Studio. Yeah, Tony is designer. Has been since before he was born, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, close to it. And yeah, we're just gonna chat today. So thanks for letting me into your space.
My pleasure.
Pardon the echo. If anybody can hear an echo, we're trying to avoid it, but sometimes it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's the studio vibe.
yeah, exactly. So again, like no real agenda. I just want to chat with you, see what's up. And I guess probably to start, like I don't know you that well. Like we're not like we're friends. We're not like bros, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I met you through Arc'teryx, or at Arc'teryx. I don't even know. Like
When did you start there?
2010.
That's when we would have met. Because
Yeah.
I'd been there since 2008, I think.
Right. And yeah, you were designing there when I got there. I worked in the marketing department. I think you're one of the few people, the first people I actually talk to on a regular basis. Or when I saw them, I would like to talk to you. A lot of times you work with places, you're like, okay, these people are cool, but I don't really talk to a ton of people, right? That's why. And I didn't live in town, neither did you. Like I don't get into.
Oh, that's right. You're commuting from Whistler.
Yeah, so I wasn't there a ton.
Yeah.
But also, I don't like get into like. I love the people I work with, and when I do, they're great people all the time. Wherever I work, if they're great people, but I don't like hang out with work people on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So, but there's always those people you just relate to.
Yeah.
Like Sweeney, I hung out with him a ton when I worked there. We were buddies, right?
Yeah.
We still are, but
Yeah.
I don't see him much. But yeah, I think it's like it's when a company that big, there's very few chances for people to just hang out if you don't hang out after work. You don't.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
we're like across the road. That place is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah. So you started there when you were in what 2008? You said.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Around then.
What did you do before that? Did you just come out of school?
I was actually going to Emily Carr for
Okay.
industrial design.
Cool.
And then got an internship at Arc'teryx, and then started working there.
You interned.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah, for a year. Well, I was at school,
Okay.
and then just continued on working.
Was it hard to get in there? Like you just walk in and go, hey, I want to do this? Did they know you? Did you know people? Did you have contacts there?
I had some contacts,
Yeah.
but then I definitely had to like hound. I think I had Tom Fales contact,
Yeah.
and I like kept sending my portfolio and following up, and
Right.
finally got an interview with. I know it was like 2 or 3 hours, and like
Yeah,
everybody came down to talk to me. It was very strange.
It is strange, huh?
Blancairn came down, and
That must have been a trip.
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
That must
and
have
he
been
was
a
like immediately like my, mentor.
Buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he speaks the truth. I mean, Mike Blancairn, I don't want to call him out, but he's a designer. Arc'teryx forever and invent a lot of cool shit. But he's like a dude.
Yeah.
And it's good to be it's good to be on his side.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. When I started working there, I worked for Whistler Blackcomb first, and then the same thing as far as like getting a job there. I applied for a job. They actually kind of talked to me first. I came down and applied for a job. I didn't get the job. They gave it to somebody else. They fired that guy. They call me back. And they're like, hey, sorry, whoops. And then I got that job, but it took me like interviews were just forever. Like, tons of them. And just like talking to everybody. I'm like, who are all these people?
I think it's a theme. Everyone I talk to, I don't know many people who just like swoop in there and.
I think it's because they try to make this seem like this allure of like everyone's involved, and then and then it's like half the time I'm like I'll never work with this person again. Like wait, what are they in the room for?
Yeah,
it's crazy. But no, it was a cool company to work for. It was cool that I was in a good position where I could interact with designers a bunch, which happens a lot there. But like just being a marketing guy, I felt like sometimes marketing people they come across as like annoying to people that are doing the job we're trying to market.
Yeah.
You're like, this is our product. You guys just tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's got to kind of be that like the chameleon of like this, like I guess Sweden, is that or Switzerland? Switzerland. Yeah. Kind of like yeah. But, and then you spent like, you were saying earlier, like you were just into it when you got there.
Well, I mean,
I
kind of have a history with Arc'teryx because I grew up in Penticton.
Okay.
Climbing.
Yeah.
And my dad's a big climber, like wrote the guidebook to Ska Bluffs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
See, it's cool stuff. I don't know this shit. Awesome.
Yeah.
Man. Cool.
Yeah. Howie.
Yeah.
People know him.
I think
and his
maybe,
eyebrow.
Right. Where does he live?
In OK Falls.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cool.
My folks live in OK Falls.
Okay, cool.
So, anyways, he's like old school climber, and he knew Dave Lane, who was actually the original
Right.
like he had started Rock Solid, and then Jeremy Gard got involved with Dave, and then they turned it into Arc'teryx.
Yeah.
So I'd known like Arc'teryx since I was a child.
Yeah, cool.
And then, always kind of like thought it would be this whatever dream job when I started getting into design as like, because I was never like a design, like, cause I like making models and stuff like that when I was a kid, but I was never like sewing,
No, but it all
jackets
adds up,
and
right?
stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, when I started sewing and getting into that sort of stuff, and then went to design school, Arc'teryx was like, oh, maybe in like 5 years I'll be ready.
Oh, really?
And then my buddy was just like, dude, why don't you just apply for Arc'teryx?
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then lo and behold, managed to get
Works.
an internship there. But yeah, I had this whole like long history with Arc'teryx,
Like knowing all about them and
knowing all about it, and like, yeah, people involved with it, kind of like, 1 degree of separation always.
that's cool. I think that's interesting when you can like I didn't really know much about it before I started working there. I was a skier since I was a kid. I was like stupid race kid and stuff, just like stuff. But I didn't really know what it was about. But I think it's cool when someone's like, it's like, I want to be a firefighter, and then they grow up to be a firefighter. Or like, I want to be this, and you grow up and you just do it. And it's pretty cool. You can just follow that path like along the way, and it's successful. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you think that did you graduated college, or did you just kind of leave college and go to work? Or
No. I got a degree.
Oh, okay, cool,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's industrial design, or what did you take?
Industrial design. Yeah.
Is that kind of like when you get into design, like if you're going to do like apparel design, is that kind of like is there like Kwantlen College, the design college and stuff, do they have like apparel, or is it all kind of like
Those are more like fashion design?
Sure, like Aritzia or something where you go and do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think now there is like a sort of technical apparel design program.
Isn't this supported by like Lulu and Arc'teryx at Kwantlen or something?
Yeah. I think it's actually called the
Chip Wilson School of Design.
School for kids who can't sew so good or something like that.
Right. Yeah, right. Cross-stitch, cross-eyed, yeah.
But industrial design, I think because Arc'teryx does bags and like there's I guess that one school is maybe particularly suited to what Arc'teryx does because it's so technical and bags and whatever. But as far as I know, maybe there's a few programs down in the States, but there's not a lot of programs that like specifically train you for the kind of stuff that Arc'teryx does. And like most of the guys like Mike and Tom and Dan Green and Dan Jackson, none of these guys are really like trained designers. They're just like,
which is
smart,
cool because
smart dudes,
It's cool. I think that's because that's what outside the box thinking. People do different things. Like if you go to design school for clothing, obviously it makes sense to do that, but you wouldn't have. I don't want to generalize here, but I feel like you might not have that thought of like how to make this plastic thing fit on my back.
Yeah.
While I'm trying to make denim fit around something.
Yeah.
As a fashion designer, but how do I make this plastic bag or this plastic sheet bend on my back?
Yeah.
Like it's definitely a benefit. I'm sure there's probably a lot of design companies who need that now. Like I'm sure it was something that was every time I've tried to get jobs or worked on jobs, I feel like the outside skills of what have helped me, like the skills outside of what the job actually is, what helped me more than what I know about the job sometimes.
Yeah. I think that was, from and like even going back to like Dave Lane, like the fact that these guys weren't trained in those crafts, but were just super smart and interested and wanted to just like solve problems, not like do it the way that it should be done in the
you're not
industry.
following a common path. You're
And that was like a huge like strength for the company because they were just like, I don't know how you do this. Like, let's just start taking foam and heating it up and bending it and doing crazy stuff with it. And,
that's one thing that's cool is like, so just so everybody knows, like we were talking about some people that work for Arc'teryx, like very really well-known designers in the industry, I guess, and people who are very passionate about the job, people who are really technically sound and good at what they do. Just so people aren't worried about whose names ever tossing around. But I think it's the idea of designing and like what people are, even every company that's designing stuff, every company that makes jackets, every company that makes bags, every company that makes whatever, chairs, whatever, there's always those people who are going to be the pinnacles of where the design comes from. And it's cool to see that Arc'teryx had so many people at one point behind that.
Yeah.
But do you think there's any like, outside of Arc'teryx in general, do you think there's like how much more advanced can a jacket or fabric get? Like how much more, like we think about like breathable and waterproof and these things, that's somewhat all like relative, but or just up to what you think it is. But can you make fabric better still? Like what are we doing here?
I mean, I think that's like a $1 million,
sure,
bajillion dollar question, to be honest.
Yeah, of course it is, for sure. Yeah,
like if you could revolutionize the apparel industry, you would basically become crazy rich.
I guess I'm saying, but like, is there? I mean, I don't. Yeah, totally. But how big can the revelations be from now on?
I think
or revelations or revolutions. How big can they be?
I think there will be. Like when we start getting into like 3D printing and I don't know, like
I think about the gas car and the battery operated car. That's a big change.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But it's still just like
still a car.
It's still an evolution of the thing. I mean, I think clothes are still going to be clothes. Like a jacket's always going to have 2 arms and a
Could
zipper.
They 3D print fabric? Could they make it like? I guess they can, right?
Yeah, they're starting to do that kind of stuff. And
that's cool.
Other crazy stuff like I kind of got fascinated with like growing like mushrooms. Like there's this whole thing where people are like growing, furniture. You put some mushrooms into a shape and then it like grows basically.
Really?
Mushrooms? They're like
no shit.
Yeah, for real.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I think like that would be like the crazy sci-fi evolution of apparel is when it's like either 3D printed or grown in a vat and it's like, custom shaped and like you can imbue the material with like all the breathability properties and whatever that
jeez, because I mean, Paul Stamets, you know him? Paul Stamets, the mushroom guy. This guy. He thinks that they came from space. He thinks that he thinks that humans. He thinks that all life forms come from one guy in space stuff. Yeah. I've heard about people using mushrooms and stuff, like fungus for plates and stuff like that, and like being able to mold everything else. But I think it'd be crazy. Like, I guess there is a lot of room for advancement in the construction of things. Maybe beyond the actual materials, but the way they're constructed, maybe. Yeah. Because if you could 3D print like a shirt.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're a long way from that. I think the way that, anything that's going to happen in that way now is going to be kind of like art project kind of stuff. Yeah. For it to become like fully industrialized is going to take, another century or something.
To make it like scalable. Yeah. To make it something you can, like, I think, isn't that like, my guess is when you're designing a jacket or a bag, or whatever it is, you make it, then you have to decide if it actually can work in a production line. Yeah. Like if we make this really intricate piece, it looks rad, but
because people are doing it. Like there's 3D printed, dresses and things. Yeah, people are doing that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
But it's like always literally like, like this one-off piece that like.
Is it made of fabric? What's it made of? Like
plastic, I guess.
Fuck, really? Like
it's like little chain links or something.
Right. Yeah, it's like polyester. Just like different.
Yeah. And it's not like, it's not really functional. It's not really improving it. It's just kind of like, hey, look at what we can do. It's like neat.
Yeah. Have you spent much time working with fabrics that are like made from plastic bottles and things like people claim that like how eco-friendly are these things? If you're, maybe you don't know, I don't know, but if somebody's saying, we make all of our stuff out of like, this jacket's got 3,000 plastic bottles in it or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I always like kind of, I'm a little bit jaded. Like when I was at design school, like I kind of went to design school thinking I want to make like, environmentally friendly stuff. It was like in the early 2000s and like eco design and like there's this book called Cradle to Cradle, which I read, which kind of like,
I've heard of it.
Yeah. It's like, it's a really good book, but, anyways, I had like all these ideas and like started researching different materials like hemp and like corn based, plastics and whatnot. They all have their dark sides. Honestly, like every single one of them, even like whenever Patagonia is like, we make this out of pop bottles or whatever somebody's selling you. Yeah. If you like dig a little deeper and like look at the entire life cycle of that thing, it's always like, you know what? The only way to actually reduce your footprint is just like use your stuff longer
for as long as you can.
Yeah. Just don't buy new stuff and
use a glass jar. Don't use a plastic bottle.
Yeah. And then also, because when I started at Arc'teryx, I was still kind of like on that kick. Yeah. And And I remember Blankhorn kind of crushed my dreams a little bit. Like I asked him
reality check. Yeah.
I asked him to be my sort of advisor on my grad project, and I was going to make this like cotton waterproof city rain jacket for commuting, whatever. He's like, why would you waste your time doing that? And I was like kind of bubble was burst.
Right.
Cause his whole, and he had also been like, a granola cruncher, like whatever, all through the 80s designing stuff, 90s. But his whole mentality and kind of Arc'teryx's mentality was like, just make it really good.
Yeah.
Like make something that's going to last like
undeniable
twice as long or 3 times as long. So you don't have to like throw your jacket out once it wears out. Yeah. And that was like their whole thing. Like the original, I remember this like legend was that Jeremy Gard wanted the the first Arc'teryx catalogs made out of old growth paper from the old growth forests of Clayoquot Sound.
Wow, really?
Because he wanted to make it the best and to like spit in the face of all this like green design stuff that was kind of like prevalent at the time.
It's pretty funny. Like, and at the time, no one like at that time the crisis wasn't as obvious as we see it is now, right? So I was like, yeah, we would have been like, no one really would have given that much of a fuck about it probably.
It was already
cool.
Starting to come on though. Remember, like it was like there was like recycle. Well, there was the 3 R's. It was like reuse, reduce, recycle, and then everyone just kind of like trickled down to recycle. I can still buy stuff and feel good about it instead of like reduce, reuse, recycle.
It's true. Like the whole idea of like, I mean, recycling is Canada ships stuff to like Singapore or something to recycle. And
I think
it's just garbage.
Yeah, the bubbles being burst on that whole
like
thought train as well, right?
Yeah, I wonder what that's like in the clothing industry. I recycle fabric. Like I just think that there's got to be like everyone's trying to do it now.
Yeah.
I think like we'll like, hey, say give us your old stuff, we'll repair it and give it back to you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the also thing is like you make it the best, but at some point, the company needs to sell you a jacket again.
Totally,
they can't wait as long as that jacket will last. They have to get it to you.
They're not motivated to truly make something that's going to last a long time.
The only good thing I could say about that is this, if people caught on to the quality of these pieces, whether it's Arc'teryx, Patagonia, whoever it is, they all make decent stuff. Like nothing's really shit stuff. Like, I mean, people are, but of the big guys, everyone's stuff's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I guess the idea is like if you don't want it anymore, the idea would be that somebody else takes it and passes it down.
Yeah.
Or uses it. But then you're stopping them from buying a brand new jacket. Like everybody wants to have it. I guess the trend is to try to be able to use things again.
Yeah.
But it's a cumbersome business. It's a cumbersome way to operate. It's hard.
Yeah.
Then but the effort is totally commendable.
Yeah.
So I think like now that like Arc'teryx doing this, like, give us your jacket or reuse whatever it's called, and then Patagonia does it. But
I think Patagonia is like, don't buy our stuff, which actually then people bought even more stuff after they said it. But I think that's like the most honest, like environmental statement of any company is like, don't buy our stuff. Like that would actually have like a real like impact on.
It's true because they're not public either.
Right.
So there's
they can say that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because
the shareholders aren't like, what are you doing? Like
you can have environmentally friendly shareholders who don't want this stuff to happen, but then you have the other half that aren't, and they want their profits, right? And fair enough. Like I said before, people are in business to make money, but I mean, Patagonia's sales probably went up.
Oh, for sure. I think they did that one for I can't remember, like Black Friday or whatever.
Don't buy our stuff.
Don't buy our stuff, and then
it's
of course
smart,
everyone went out and bought more stuff.
Whether it's legitimately an idea, or it's a marketing ploy, either way. It's fucking perfect. It works. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of building stuff and make it last longer is obviously the key. Like people, a lot of the times you buy something that's supposed to be environmentally friendly, it just doesn't stand up.
Yeah.
It doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
Like it's not as waterproof or it's not whatever, right?
Yeah.
Then you end up, it doesn't last as long. So,
so are you net total? You're making something that's like, and maybe kind of like not actually doing a favor, right?
And then you can't like say if your jacket's made from recycled bottles, right? Whatever. Yeah. You can't recycle that jacket, can you? Can you put that jacket in recycling? No, you can't.
I don't think so. And
you can't put it beside you can't put it in the plastic bottle recycling.
Yeah, and unless I don't know that much about the recycling of garments and whatever, but I feel like, like you can't even throw out a jar with some peanut butter in it because it's going to contaminate the entire batch of recycling. Like,
which blows my mind. Isn't it just fire and you burn it and melt it? Like, isn't that what it's?
Yeah, I don't get it. But like, imagine a jacket that's made out of like, fleece and thread and zippers and snaps and Velcro. Yeah. Unless all of those are like exactly the same plastic compound, it probably like, is it even recyclable?
As soon as you spray with Nick Wax, you can't recycle it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's so crazy. I'm curious, like, because I work in an industry that has lots of packaging, and we're trying to find ways around the packaging we use.
Yeah.
And find like a package that is biodegradable or a packaging that comes from there's one company who is offering us packaging that came from like old fish nets and like ocean plastics they found.
Yeah.
And they're like, cool, but then that's great. We're pulling that out there, and I like that. But then now I have this piece that's going to go and not be able to be, that can be recycled, but it's not like really, it's recyclable, but it's still, the end result is it's been used twice.
Yeah.
But I can't use it a third time. It's got to go.
Right.
And then,
yeah.
But we have another company who is like, I can give you a biodegradable source. I think 120 days, they say. And I was like, cool. But then, the regulations are, if it's food and food and whatever, Health Canada stuff, they're like, is this now food grade safe?
Right.
Is the integrity of the packaging still there? So there's so many different variables that we're trying to figure out that, in both industries. But the plastic thing is like, I mean, I'm guilty of it. I'm not going to say that I stand here and like, I'm not growing all my food in my backyard, but like, I think there is a lot of shit that's just not being, 10% of the stuff we buy gets recycled. Like, right. It's like, the stuff we send to the recycling. Yeah, you said peanut butter in there. Yeah. You can't recycle it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. How do you, like you were saying before when you were doing your first project, you wanted to build something that was like, and Mike was like, why would you do that? When you work now as a designer, as a like independent person, if you work with clients, everything else, how often do you hear their environmental or their reusable or their sustainable or conscious efforts? Like, are people coming to you say, hey, I need a new backpack? Just fuck what it's made from. Just make me something cool.
Do you think
is it more? Do you hear it more and more, or is it something that's like?
Strangely enough, in the last this year, to one client and then one possible client, both started bringing up, like, from the marketing side of things, they're like, oh, we want it sustainable. We need more of a sustainability story.
Sure.
And I always ask, what does that mean to you? Like, you're talking to me talking to me as a designer. I'm like, okay, cool. So we can make it modular. We can make all of the parts, like the way that it gets put together.
Sure.
There's ways that you can like try to make it more recyclable or
sure.
reusable or fixable or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's not, there's way more to it than that. It's like, as a company, what else are you going to do? Like, you just want a story about it. You can spin a story about anything you want. It's like if you're clever.
Yeah.
But like, there's like the life cycle and the transportation and there's all these other things that probably actually have way more impact on the sustainability of products than just like whether it's made out of recycled pop bottles.
If I'm going to make a jacket that's if somebody comes to me and says, hey, can you make me a jacket that's recyclable, whatever the fuck it's going to be, make a jacket that's like, turns into flour, we can make cookies with it later on.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to ship it to you in a plastic bag. Every jacket comes in a plastic bag.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? What's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
totally.
there is a point. Sure, the jacket's not, I don't throw the jacket out every time, but if you're going to give me a jacket that's made out of sunflower seeds and then you're going to give me, wrap it in plastic, well, sure, the jacket's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But now this plastic's still coming to me.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a different, the market, when you said the marketing, it makes me laugh because I'm a marketing guy. It makes me laugh because it's like, what's beyond the message is just, it's not actually about the product. It's about what the message of the product is.
Yeah.
So then then what happens? You have to defend the product falling apart a year later because it wasn't made with, like you said before, like, make something that lasts.
Yeah.
It's such a weird, I mean, we're not trying to solve problems here, but just a weird thing that, the messaging is great, and if no one's making the effort, nothing will happen. So I guess there's efforts that are either blind efforts that people are just doing to say, like, hey, let's just have the cool thing to talk about and greenwash stuff.
Yeah.
And as much as that's kind of lame, it still might impact someone to make a change along the way. So it's like it's a weird thing to like, what's the point of trying, but then what's the harm of not?
Yeah.
So it's a hard.
Yeah. I think it's worth trying, but I think it's like
realistic.
I just think it's like, from my perspective, what these people were saying, kind of like, it's maybe I'm a, overly defensive designer type or something, but I'm just like, it kind of feels like you're putting it all on design to make this like sustainable product, when I think that it's definitely a design thing, but then it's like a whole company thing. Like the whole company like has to be dedicated to that, and it's going to be like, it's going to cost. There better be
no fucking plastic bottles in the recycling at work.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, so I have this thing where it's like, if you're going to call someone on their shit, you have to have your shit together, right?
Yeah.
And so, or you have to at least be equally as shit as that person you're calling it, right?
Totally.
So I think if you're going to, obviously the effort is there and every little bit counts.
Yeah.
But the responsibility of going out and shouting loud about what you're doing to save the earth.
Yeah.
If somebody opens up your closet and sees a bunch of fucking plastic bottles in there, the whole thing is out the window.
Yeah, totally.
It's an interesting. We can talk this for hours. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But so let's get out of this for a while, because I feel like I don't want to talk about work too much or work stuff too much. Yeah. But I think you're. I think one thing I wanted to say is when we were talking about doing this podcast, this is way off topic. We were talking, and then we were texting back and forth, and you just called me, and I was like, no one does that. Like, we just text back and forth and everything else. And I was like, when you called me, I was like, hello? Oh, cool. Yeah. And it solved it got the problem, not the problem, but like the scheduling done right away.
Yeah.
And that's why that's funny. I'm like, of course, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, Tony would totally call. Like, I was in my head, I'm like, yeah, that's something that he would do. He's probably not the guy that just text all the time.
I'm just not good at texting.
Yeah. I was like, man, he's totally going to call me. And I was like, all right, sorry, I didn't think that. But I was like, oh, when you did call, I'm like, oh, he totally the guy. It's going to be a good conversation, because I'm like, he's the guy who just calls somebody. Sorry. I popped in my head. I was like, yeah, it made me think about it the whole time.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really curious too, because when we worked together, you were, the reason why I think you get the idea of products and stuff like that is because this sounds cliche, but you use the shit that you build, and your opinion comes from experience and hardship and failure and everything else, right? And when we worked together, you've done on some big trips. Like you've done, like I'm not an adventure guy. Like I ski with chairlifts and stuff. But like, you've done like pretty big stuff as far as what I know, or what I envision seeing in the world. Like you've gone some big trips.
Yeah. I guess through my upbringing in the outdoors, kind of got exposed to a lot of that. I actually went to. It used to be called. I
don't know what's going on next door, the building, but
there's a music studio upstairs, and they drag stuff around.
Oh, cool. Okay, sweet, nice, right on.
Oh no, it's Saturday. Usually there's a heavy metal Sunday going on.
Will they usually play music?
There's a band that comes and
sick.
rocks
out.
They're
playing right now. Damn, that's cool. That'd be awesome background noise.
Yeah, it's pretty. They're pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there's a new one in they sound a little more melodic, but the old one was just.
Is it Hoop Snake?
No, they have their studio's down by my place.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
But the guys upstairs were like.
That's fucking weird music, man. It's fine. I used to listen to it when I was a kid, but that's funny. Man, well,
So
sorry.
what were we
talking about adventures. And
adventures. Yeah. So I went to. I grew up climbing and kayaking, and skiing, and doing all that stuff, and then ended up going to used to be called Caribou College. Now it's called Thompson Rivers University.
Oh, okay.
For 2 years, did a adventure tourism diploma there.
Oh, you did.
Made a bunch of good buddies through that. Went on a bunch of trips with those guys.
Yeah.
That was actually also, maybe not the TRU stuff, but just like that kind of background. Also,
TRU.
Thompson Rivers
Sorry,
University.
yeah. Right on. Right out of the gate, I forgot about that. Okay, sorry.
But I think that whole background was also, between the going to design school and then also having all that sort of background got me a good foot in the door for Arc'teryx.
Cool.
And then, again, like Blankhorn, who, he became like a huge buddy of mine, and I think
sure.
part of what he really liked, like what we bonded over, was the fact that I was like a user, so to speak, and had like inherent knowledge of using jackets and bags and harnesses and all of these sorts of things, and like.
So you've seen what works. Sometimes you've seen like where the hiccups are, where the too much fabric folds over, that kind of shit. Kind of a little bit about it, right?
Yeah, and just
before you came to us, or before you came to Arc'teryx.
Yeah, and then I don't know. Like to me, it's I always think of it like if I'm trying to design something that I'm not, like when I was at Arc'teryx, I worked on the LEAF, the Law Enforcement Armed Forces stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And and that was cool because it let me work on a bunch of stuff. Sure. There's a bunch of reasons that that was actually a sweet opportunity for me, but I didn't really know that stuff.
Yeah,
like I wasn't like, oh, the last time I was like under fire, desert. I really wanted a pocket for my mags, whatever. Like so, it was cool in a lot of ways and also frustrating. And then I always think of that in relation to people trying to design anything for anyone that they're not like inherently involved with. And no matter how much, like, I mean, I guess now there's like, or it's not exactly a new thing, but like kind of crowdsourcing and like getting a lot of information, that's like a really valid way of designing stuff. But I still think that as a designer, being a user of the product, so that you can like take that information and like
you've got to
filter it.
You've got to have a picture of what it looks like in your head, how it's being used. I can say to you, hey, you know what, Tony, I need this jacket to have this piece because when I was out in the field, this thing always broke.
Yeah,
you'd be like, cool.
Yeah,
but you have to envision what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
if you haven't seen it, it's hard for you to decide. It's like I've never met a chef who's never eaten.
Right. Yeah, like, exactly.
Like you have to.
Yeah, you're gonna taste your sauce.
If you've never eaten
before,
before, you can't be a chef.
Yeah, and I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
You've never eaten before.
Literally, you'd be dead. So. Sorry, I don't know what.
That is a true fact.
But yeah, I think so. But what I was gonna ask is, what's your now that you're, I guess, doing your own business thing, do you get time to go on trips and do your own adventures? Like I know you see that thing, you did that big thing with Paul McSorley and those guys. You went to like wherever, I don't know, you went to like
Baffin.
Yeah.
That was actually like my last really big trip.
That's kind of huge, right?
Like that was a huge trip. It was kind of like a lifetime.
It's like cool. Like the video I saw for it was legit.
Yeah,
I mean, I think I helped market that thing. Yeah, we top video, sustainable future, everyone. It only gives me a glimpse into what that's about.
Yeah, those are amazing trips. Like honestly, they're a lot of work. It's like they're kind of expensive. Kind of you need to like start organizing things like way in advance, which I'm not really good at. A little more like spontaneous.
Right. Yeah.
What do you?
I am the same way.
But honestly, like those, I've been on a few of those trips, like Baffin, and I mean Baffin was honestly like maybe sort of the ultimate. Like
it seemed fucking cool, dude.
It's like going to Mars. It's the craziest place on Earth, especially where we went like got dropped off by a boat up a fjord in the middle of nowhere.
Didn't you climb that thing called the Beluga or something?
Beluga.
Did you guys name that?
The feature was named. We called the route that we climbed on it the Harpoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think that was in the video. I don't know. Maybe it was.
I don't know.
Was the video made for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who filmed it?
It was primarily our buddy Josh Levine, who was on the trip with us, and also a super badass sender.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that.
He's like kind of, I wouldn't say one of a kind, but there's very few people who combine his level of climbing and filmmaking and whatnot. So it was rad having him.
So that's it. That was on Baffin Island.
Yeah,
and then so you flew from Vancouver to where first? You had to probably take a few flights.
Yeah, there's like I think we stopped off in Toronto.
Oh, whatever.
But anyways, you fly to Iqaluit.
Oh, okay.
And pro tip, I don't know if this still stands, but It used to be like
take your own milk.
Stuff's expensive over there. No, you can fly on Aeroplan points, and because it's, at least at the time within Canada, like it was considered a domestic flight.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, it was no more expensive to fly to Iqaluit than it was to fly to Ottawa or some,
Right.
like kind of long haul domestic flight.
But isn't it like, because you fly, is it an international airport up there, I guess, or no?
Well, no, we made like a point of flying like strictly on our driver's licenses because it's in Canada, but it's like going to the other side of the world. Like literally it's the other side of the world,
Sure,
but it's like
far fucking away.
It feels like getting to Argentina is less of a hassle than getting to Iqaluit.
No one travels to, like, the reason why people get paid so much up there, and like, there's like, you get, if you're a government worker up there, you get a bunch of money because no one wants to be there.
Yeah,
I guess, or like,
well,
that's
no,
rude. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. People are just
people want to be there, but it's definitely a lifestyle choice.
Yeah,
you know,
for
like,
sure. It's out of the way. And how I shouldn't have said, people want to be there. That's rude. I apologize, everybody that's there who wants to be there. But that kind of stuff, like, so what do you miss that? Like, that's the last time speaking to you?
A little bit, yeah. I mean,
it got an itch to do something else, or you have anything that's like
nothing that's like burning me up. Like honestly, the last few years just being self-employed, feels like its own crazy trip. You know, it's like pretty first all-consuming. Yeah, there's a lot of first ascents, a lot of like,
first ascents for sure.
Just
probably both.
Yeah, like on-sighting of like various cruxy things, and the whole lining. Like going on like multi-month adventures is like, my head would just explode. Like now we've got we're at a little bit of time off, and all I want to do is just like chill in Squamish and do day hits. Like wait till my buddy calls me and is like, hey, I'm going for a bike ride, let's go. And I'm like,
cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. It's funny how all the analogies people use from sports, like and as sports become more mainstream, those analogies come in. So the crux of things, right? 20 years ago, nobody who skied, or people who just wouldn't know the word crux maybe, and even now, but now it's like, I don't climb. I mean, I climb it, but I use the word crux on that. The crux, and I'm like, only because it's influence. It's so funny how like when a sport makes its rise into like common ground. Yeah. Now that surfing and skateboarding are going to be in the Olympics, people start using some like surfing and skateboarding terms to refer to their accounting document. Yeah.
I'm curious about, because the term send has been in climbing vernacular for like decades. Like,
send it when you're going skiing. It's like, people still do it.
Yeah, but maybe I just wasn't. Maybe I just know about the climbing side of it because I'm a climber. But like, have people been saying "send it" on skis for like 20 years?
I'm a skier. I've been skiing for like 30 years. I have no idea.
Did you used to say that like when you were a kid?
I don't.
Like, do you remember people saying "send it"?
Yeah.
And now it's like everyone's like, there's Instagram accounts like get sendy and stuff like that.
That's so fucking annoying, man, because everybody Instagram accounts I follow 4 accounts, they all post the same video within half an hour. Right. As far as
they're just like a echo chamber, like boom boom boom, go to the best fail videos from fails.
More echoey than this room. But no, I think like that, I don't know, man. Sendy.
Because that's literally something climbers would say, like, at least 20 years ago, like,
sure,
I sent my project, like,
where did that come from?
I don't know. I'm just curious what the history of that
mix
is.
Up the word ascend and say I sent?
Maybe. Like, I sent it. Yeah.
Ascend. Yeah. Like
there you go.
It's like maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
All those acid heads in Valley or in the Valley Uprising.
Yeah, totally.
Send, bro.
Oh, dude, I sent it.
Yeah. That's so funny. So that's funny how those sports, like, where these sports come from. Climbing comes from, I only know climbing through history of like watching like, Netflix
Valley
shit,
Uprising,
which is a best. I love that fucking movie.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh man,
I know I'm bad. I haven't watched any of those movies.
Maybe it's not for climbers. I don't know. But I used to go to the indoor gym in Whistler a bunch, like last year, the year before, and with some friends of mine. We would always yell "Valley Uprising" when you would like try to get like in a bowl that one move. We make the guy laugh and fall off the wall. But the word send. When I was a kid, we used to ski snowboard. I didn't know even climbing really existed really much when I was young. But yeah, I would think that send is a word that they used. Like send it was. It's been around longer than I can remember.
Yeah. Okay.
But now that I've grown up and when I worked at Arc'teryx, I think I think it must have come from climbing.
Yeah.
Because at some point, mountaineering and climbing crossed.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if they started together, but like, did climbing must have come from mountaineering?
Yeah, they've always been.
I mean,
one. I mean, they're definitely pretty distinct, but it's like to somebody
The
outside
skills
of the
relate from
world,
both
they're kind of
sides,
like
yeah.
one big thing, you know.
So maybe it crossed over that way. Maybe like there's big alpine skier guys who climbed and ascending and ascending. Maybe just I don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably, or it's just some word that the French guys used. They didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Send it.
No, Jacques, that's not the correct usage of
Yeah. Are you saying send it? No, I said ascend. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it was. Lost in translation. I don't know. That's the whole terms of climbing things and stuff. And like, I try to use the word stoked less. I think I'm trying to use words that are.
Yeah, there's a few of these words that are like.
Yeah, like epic no longer matters unless you're talking about like Faith No More or like, there's no epic is kind of like, or like, I remember when, I don't know if it was Eric Peterson, not Eric Peterson, damn it. Anyway, I remember back in the day, some guys would talk about like, the word extreme, the word extreme skiing no longer, it's severe skiing.
Right.
Like those words just become like obsolete almost, right?
Yeah.
So like words like sending's probably not gonna go obsolete, but like words like stoked stuff, I'm trying to use like the real word. Like I'm gonna get excited.
Yeah.
Like I want to use like let's like or like I got up that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying we have to, but when you try to put those words into real life, like you're asking, like no one goes, I sent that at the grocery store today. Like like I ran on the aisle, I sent it. Like that's like or like it's just like, or I sent it last night. I just got so drunk. That's like these. I just think it's funny how we apply words to things that.
I think it's human nature to use get these words and then use the shit out of them basically until they become meaningless, and then you need new words, and then
it's funny how we all go through. Like you'll hear a word, God's funny word, and then all of a sudden now you use it all the time.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, my buddy and I were biking, and I was a really rowdy biker. I'm like, that was a fucking healthy run.
Yeah.
And I was like, healthy's pretty funny, so I'm gonna use that. The next time I was healthy. Like it's just these words you apply to things that don't have any relation to it, but it's like I just think we use.
Have you noticed? Right?
Oh, dude, I say it all the time. I always go, oh, dude.
I never used to say that. Now I find myself,
and
somebody says something, you're like, right?
And I got that from CD, Denny. But I think Americans do that kind of stuff, right? A lot.
Yeah.
But then you won't use that word in a year. You'll use something else. You'll be like totally.
Yeah.
Like that'll change, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's cool. I like bringing back old words like radical. And saying the whole word.
Yeah. Gnarly.
It's super rad. But there are just they're words that they're influenced from.
Yeah. I like the wordplay. I mean, getting stuck on words until they're like they make you want to punch somebody is not good. But like, I definitely. Paul McSorley.
Oh, he's got words for everything.
He's got his own lexicon.
Him, actually, yeah. He's so.
And
so you're like, I think it's climbing talk. I think it's just Paul talk, right?
Yeah, there's definitely climbing talk, and then there's Paul talk.
I learned that. I was like, Paul says some climbing words, and I was like, wait, this is just Paul saying these.
Yeah. Manship, like.
What?
Sendmanship,
oh, he'll just cut the
like he just adds it onto the end.
So Aussie of him, yeah. I think that's funny. I think I like saying words that just like I use the word deadly a lot. That's fucking deadly.
Yeah.
And I'll write. I've said this before, but like I work at. We all, I guess you interact with professional people. Like you have to email people, like people at other companies and executive stuff, and like I'll use the word deadly in an email, and I'm like, people are like, who is this guy? Like, you're sending a text to like the VP of accounting, like this is deadly, like how was your weekend? Oh, deadly. Like what? Who's this guy? It's so funny. I think emailing.
Somebody died? What?
What? Yeah, that restaurant deadly. What happened? People started killing people. But I think like that's what was I gonna say? Shit. I think it's interesting when you mix like the type of life that you lead or whatever that let's say I lead whatever, but we work in a profession that we love to do, but like I come from I went to school for marketing, and my dad was a school teacher and everything else, so my brother was in the business side of things, and I grew up thinking that business was business and like play was play. I didn't know about designers or what you could do, and like you could have a life where you could bike to work or take your lunch off and things like that, and then now we're in these spots where it's like we have people who are climbers, and people who are like in these professional industries who bring these cultures into the bank where they work, or they bring these cultures into like wherever they work, and sometimes you have to shut it off, you know. So and I'm like, I don't think we shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
So like if I work in a professional environment, even Arc'teryx's pretty professional as far as the office goes. I mean, we had computers, so professionals.
Yeah.
But like it just seemed it was natural that you could just bring your life into your work.
Yeah.
Which then I was like, this is getting too much. I can't bring my life into work too much because people bring everything in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's funny how you can just be a climber who builds climbing gear, builds stuff that you like, and there's no need to like have to put a suit on or whatever. But when you send an email to somebody, it's not I used to think that I had to like change who I was when I would communicate with people.
Yeah.
It never worked.
Yeah.
It never worked. And so I think it's funny we use these words like, you know, if you use these words in emails, people, I don't know. I just think it's funny. I love to catch people off guard. Like, you know, I work in a cannabis industry, so everyone's pretty free thinking. But sometimes you're like, you know, I go to the corporate office in Toronto and I start talking, and I'm like, people are, it is interesting when you cross the boundaries that you're not used to seeing.
Yeah.
So I go to Toronto, I do work, and I'm like, I live the West Coast lifestyle. You know, I go in like a t-shirt and jeans. Everyone's like kind of dressed up. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not even dressed up here.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what am I doing? It's not so. Like,
I remember
like conformity. I guess what I'm saying is like conformity's annoying, and you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember like when I was at Arc'teryx, I was working on the shoes with the guys in France, and that was kind of like my first experience of really dealing with people outside of where I had to like write a lot of emails, and I was doing that. I was like very informal.
Yeah.
And the only problem, that's kind of why I like to pick up the phone and or if I'm going to write
a translation
email, like it's just a little bit risky sometimes. Like if you're too, if you say deadly and then they think somebody died, or if you're just like too informal and then I don't know, like I write emails and I only use like point form. Like I'll say one sentence and then like everything else will be in like point form, because I just don't want it to be misconstrued. Like I'd rather people think I'm just being a little bit like harsh, but get like a very clear sense of what I'm saying than to write like a long, elaborate, wordy email.
The way I do elaborate so I don't come across like I'm harsh. Right. Because I have people who respond, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I sent you 2 pages. We have things to talk about here. Okay.
Well, that's when you pick up the phone.
I know.
That's when you pick up the phone.
I don't read that email 100 times. It is interesting.
Yeah. I've just had like some experiences where, like,
especially too if you're
even like English speaking to English speaking, like no translation things. It's just like you're just trying to say stuff, and it just needs to be like crystal, you know.
I take every email I get personally for some reason. Every email I get, I'm like, what? Are you yelling at me? I'm like, wait, no, they're just telling me to fucking, do this.
Yeah,
I
totally.
take it. So bad.
But that's where I find like the point form.
Yeah.
You're like, obviously this isn't somebody just like being a dick. It's just like,
I don't have time.
These are the things that need to happen. And if you have more questions, like call me or whatever.
It's funny how long. So yeah, you're right. Cause it takes
maybe that's like a, like my kind of like OCD, like designer, like most efficient sort of
probably
like,
you design efficient things. You design things to be like less bullshit.
Strip down to like it's
emails. Just come in, you send blank emails. Just like
you said be in touch every day.
Yeah. Here
Send.
you go. One emoji.
Yeah.
Smiley face emoji. I use them. I think that's the thing too, is like now that you can use emojis in emails, like my company uses Gmail. And I made up this emoji where you know the other symbol, the rock horn. I do 2 rock horns and the emoji in the middle, like I'm at a rock concert. Like and I send that someone. That's my like okay. Like that's and I'm like, what am I doing, man? I'm sending like people like this, and then someone called me. Oh man,
whole PhDs have been written on the transformation of
the language
through like OMG. Happy face, like like what is that? Is it wrong, or is it just we don't speak like they did in Shakespeare, so the language just evolved to it's just the next step.
Symbols. We're devolving into symbols again. Like you go into a cave back in the day and you scrape in a bird and a whatever because you killed it, and it's like arrow to bird, and then it's like meal.
Letters are just symbols as well. They're just like strings of symbols.
Sure. Right. But then like, yeah, but one letter can't convey a whole idea except for the word K or maybe Y.
Yeah.
Like if what letter can convey a whole word?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's true.
And like imagine someone's like, "Hey, spell the letter O."
Yeah.
You'd be like O-O-H.
Yeah.
Or O-H. Like that's I don't know. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. I'm trying to check the language here. So I'm curious though, when you go on like when you were in Baffin and those places, like you're with guys like Paul McSorley who are like, crazy climbers. I know you're you're well versed and you've experienced. I mean, how do you gauge the level of risk you're willing to take with when you're going like when you were going with Paul? Like, I mean, I guess everyone there, and you were with Paul Bride, Paul McSorley, and who?
Paul McSorley, Josh Levine, and then Crosby Johnson was their fourth. Yeah.
And like I would guess all those guys, like, do you have to go in considering yourself equals, or do you have to go in knowing that each of you has strengths that you have to play off of? Like, how do you?
Yeah, I think
like it's like picking your climbing partner. I guess you have to know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, I did not count myself as like some like the strong link in that chain.
That's kind of why I wanted to ask a roundabout way. I didn't want to be like, hey, you weren't the guy, you weren't these guys, but like.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that like going into it, Josh and Crosby were like super fired up. And those guys actually went and put up like another route while we were there because they were just like so fired up and kind of had like their own little 2-man epic.
Right.
Well, Paul and I were like hanging out in camp, just kind of chilling.
And how far away is this like Baffin? It's like how far, like you're near the, I have no idea about geography, so I'm going to get an idiot right here. But how, like, are you, like you're up by the Arctic Circle?
We were north
Baffin.
of the Arctic Circle.
Okay, right, yeah, okay. So your like communication is.
We had sat phone and InReach devices, but because we were so far north and because there's giant granite walls everywhere, it was spotty. Like we could get messages through actually the InReach because you just like you can just like type a message on your phone and then
on the mall, it doesn't come out anywhere.
What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like being in the mall, basically. That dead zone in the food court. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was like you definitely feel pretty far out there.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty wild.
And then do you like, I don't know, like I think, I get into situations that aren't crazy, but like, I'm like, should I be here? Second guessing is like, you can't be like that. Like, how do you keep like the, I didn't even like the word use morale because it's fucking used so much. How do you get the morale high? I think it sounds dumb, but like, how do you keep your confidence high when you're like, I don't know, it's so many variables. I don't know. It's bizarre to me. I've never been in that situation, so it seems
I mean,
you have to rely.
It weighs on like you. That was one nice thing. We were a team of 4.
Yeah.
That actually brings a lot of confidence if you're just like you and your buddy.
Yeah.
Or there's guys who go up there and just like solo big wall climb in the middle of nowhere. I'm just like, I can't even imagine like that.
Oh,
there we go.
Charlie's
There's Charlie.
Yeah, you can go check it out if you need to. Yeah, for sure. Oh, there he is. What's up, buddy? Charlie is Tony's dog. Is it a rescue? Yeah. Oh, you got it from Mexico?
He came from Texas.
Oh, Texas. Oh, right, Tex-Mex, right. Yeah, sweet.
Hi.
And you called him Charlie? I don't know. I just don't know why that makes. Yeah. It's a cute dog. Super shiny. Do you feed it stuff that's good for its coat? That's a weird thing to think to me. Like when I was a kid, my parents would like put some bacon fat on your dog's food because it's good for their coat. I'm like, their coat. Like I don't put bacon fat on my food because it's good for my hair. Like I don't know. It's just weird to me that people are like it's good for his coat. That's a weird thing to say.
No, he's just a healthy little dude.
Yeah, right.
He's awesome.
So you got him from Texaco?
No, he came from Texas. We picked him up in Seattle because I think Trina was looking for a dog forever. And it's actually kind of hard. Like she applied for numerous dogs.
It's tough around here. They're like, we don't want to give it to you. Why? Because fuck.
Yeah, I don't know why she couldn't get a dog here. So she's like cast her net a little wider, and like literally, like on Pet Finder, you can put like 100-kilometer radius that you're willing to go get a dog. And Everett, Washington was in there. And I guess because Texas kills dogs, like if they've been too long.
Oh, well, everybody does that. Most shelters do it.
I don't know. I think, anyways, for whatever reason, Texas, there's like this sort of like underground,
dog rescue program.
It's not underground. It's like legit, but they basically will ship dogs from Texas up to the Pacific Northwest, and they drove a van full of dogs.
Sounds like a cool movie.
Yeah. The next Wes Anderson Isle of Dogs.
Van of
Dogs. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But
that's cool.
Anyway, so Charlie got shipped up from Texas, and we went down to Seattle at the Humane Society and picked him up in the parking lot. We had no idea what he was going to be like,
right?
Except for like a few pictures and like one little video.
That's cool.
And it was like, okay, I hope he's cool.
He's pretty rad. I mean, I've been on for like 3 hours. He probably seems pretty rad.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I think that is fucking bizarre and a bit backwards. Like you can't. The process to get a dog that was given up by idiot owners or whatever, even just maybe I shouldn't say idiots. People are just like, whatever the circumstances is, you have to give up a dog.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, hi, I'm Ryan. I have a nice home.
Yeah.
You can come and see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have this.
Yeah.
I'll get a dog sitter. You don't give it to me because what? Like I've had friends who try to get a dog, but they're single and they work, and they're like, oh, you can't have a dog because you can't take care of it. I'm like, this dog was dropped off by somebody at your facility, and I'm coming to you to get one.
Yeah.
I didn't buy a puppy and get rid of it because I can't deal with it. I'm coming to you to get a rescue dog because I want to rescue a dog.
Yeah.
Now I have to go to Texas to get a fucking dog. The process to me I don't know much about the process, but on the outside that seems utterly ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean,
I'm glad you guys could save a dog.
Yeah.
No matter where it's from.
Yeah.
But the fact that you had to go through the struggle of like, and the fact that those dogs in Texas can't be saved is fucking sad too. But like, that is crazy to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've never really thought we would get a dog from anywhere, but just like
it's thousands of miles away when you could just get one, probably from the local SPCA, but they're not doing because they're like, our criteria, like that's how.
Yeah.
It's strange, man. Like
I think also part of it was that Trina also, because we both had dogs before, and she had some criteria of what size and like she wanted a dog that was gonna suit us as well, and maybe none of the dogs that were readily available around here were necessarily.
I guess that's fair. I shouldn't be so harsh because I have allergies really bad. And I can't just go. I couldn't if I went and like rescue a dog. I would have to get a specific dog.
Right.
But the dogs that I can get, no one gives those up.
Right.
Like no one gives up a poodle.
Right.
Like because they're either rich people who have the money or they get an animal after it.
Yeah.
People give up like a Rottweiler. I'm like, well, I can't have. I can't. I'll sneeze. I'll die. I'll pass out. But like, I guess I shouldn't talk. So I'm a bit uninformed. But I feel like on the outside, it does seem strange that criteria alone, or whatever it is aside, like the fact that you have to. And then they're like, hey, and then they have the ads where it's like, come and save a dog.
Yeah.
I want to save a dog. Yeah, you can't.
Have you thought about like? I mean, it's good. I guess they do that because like dogs have been, given to people, and then the last thing a shelter wants is
that dog to come back.
Because we were just kind of trying it out and it didn't work out, and now we'll return the dog. Like that's gotta like. Dogs are pretty sensitive. They get every time that happens, I'm sure they get like harder and harder to deal with, like
it's like a foster kid.
Yeah.
I mean, literally it's a foster dog.
Yeah.
I guess I shouldn't jump on the gun like that, but I do think it's a little bit strange. The hoops you have to jump through. Yeah. I know they don't want the dog to go to a bad home. I get that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But clearly some people aren't like, if like I've a friend of mine, I can't remember what the fuck it was. A single dude couldn't get a dog. Because he had to he didn't like work from home or something.
Yeah.
And I had friends who, a single buddy of mine, who did get a dog from a rescue.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think it's cool that you guys did that for sure.
Yeah.
I know people who bring them back. It must be difficult because I've seen friends bring them back from like Mexico and like from South America and stuff.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, Eddie, has a dog she brought back, and that is cool.
Yeah.
That must. there must be some paperwork involved in that.
I don't think so. Like honestly, because that was
put him in a cart.
That was the thing. Is like we have a bunch of friends who have Mexican dogs from Baja or wherever.
Put him in a truck and drive.
We're down there hanging out, and this dog latched onto them, and they're like, "I'm gonna bring it home," and then they bring it home, and I think you just get like some shots or whatever and put it in a crate and bring it home.
It. Yeah.
And
because you can't bring it. You have to have declaration and paperwork to bring a dog into the country.
Yeah, I think there's maybe a bit of paperwork, but it's not like it's not that hard. Like people do it at the end of their vacation. They'll be there for 2 weeks, fall in love with a dog, and have the dog home with them.
Yeah, I wish I didn't have allergies because I would have a dog for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say this, but like I don't want to get a shitty dog.
Yeah. I mean,
my parents had a poodle when I was younger. They're pretty cool dogs, but I'm like, I also understand the fact that I travel a bit for work, and as much as we guys have a dog, I'm like I can't use it. I can't take care of it all the time. And I feel like if you have to leave your dog for an extended period of time on its own, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
Like my buddy Jeff has a little French bulldog. It's pretty fucking hilarious, and he works in like he's a machine operator. He just brings it to work with him. And it sits in the machine with him or sits in whatever. Hangs out. Yeah, it's like a tiny dog. It sits on this huge site, like huge machinery, like millions of pounds of machinery. Yeah. It's pretty cool, I think that's pretty rad.
They're when you get a good one, when you got the one that's like right for you.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, will probably end up happening as long as it's not like a total crazy dog.
Right. How long have you had him for, Charlie?
Like 3-4 months.
Oh. Cool.
Yeah. He's only, we got him in like March.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
Like
Nice.
Yeah.
I think there's these towns, like it seems like there's dog parks and speaking of dogs, I had a friend of mine who has like this like wolf dog.
Oh, gee.
I talked about it before. Sorry. I'm going to shit on the side of it. It's huge. It looks scary. I'm like, there's dogs to me that I'm like, wow. It's a crazy dog.
Yeah.
Like huge animals.
Yeah.
Like some of these dogs I see, they're like 200 pounds. Or
yeah.
whatever,
I couldn't imagine. Like, I think that was part of the thing with Charlie. He's like 40 pounds.
Right.
He's like small enough that you can pick him up.
Yeah.
But he's big enough that he can still
do shit
on a, like he can keep up on a mountain bike ride and stuff like that.
He can ride a bike. That's cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, he's got legs.
I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man. I think so. No, I love getting sidetracked. It's hilarious. But we were talking about your trip to Baffin and just like small groups of people and like trying to find the confidence in the crew that you're with and where you see these variables and how to have if it's 2 guys or 4 guys. But and we talked about like how you mentally see yourself in the group.
Yeah.
Do you guys talk about this stuff first? When you go, you're like, hey, like, we're gonna go to Baffin. We're gonna do this first ascent. We're gonna do this. Like, I'm the ropes guy. Like, I'm the, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is there, or like, we talk about like first responders or when you're somewhere, someone's got to take charge. Like when you're searching for somebody in an avalanche, it's like, hey, take charge, lead the group. Is there, there must be being like an obvious leader, or does that emerge, or do you talk about it before?
We never really defined roles, but like,
because you're all friends. Were you all friends before you went on this? Like you all knew each other?
Okay. Yeah. But like, Josh was climbing super well. I hadn't hardly been climbing at all. Paul's always climbing well. Crosby is also climbing super well. So those guys Josh and Crosby were like, obviously like fired up for this trip.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that Paul and I were just kind of like tagging along, but like if it came down to it and it was like, okay, there's like this, I mean, you don't know when you're doing a first ascent.
You don't know.
You don't know. You don't know. Yeah, you don't know if like this is like the crux pitch or not. So you kind of go take a stab at it, and then, or if you look at it, and you're like, dude, this looks really gnarly. You go for it,
right?
And like in that scenario, there's a few times when like Josh and Crosby were just like, fuck yeah, let me at it. Like I remember like we were like in the Arctic and Crosby like ripped his shirt off and like started climbing the crack. It was pretty impressive.
I mean, I've been on small trips. There must be times where like the elation, like the just the passion behind what's going on, you just get pumped and you're like, no one's around, there's 4 of you guys, you can celebrate, you can be goofy, whatever, and you're just like, man, we just did this crazy thing together.
Yeah.
I've never really experienced it before, but it must be crazy to be like literally in the middle of nowhere. You have to make an effort to even get close to making it out alive, you know what I mean? And you make these things and people are like, it must be fucking cool to be like, we just did these incredible feats in somewhat relative safety. Like, I mean, there's obviously risk, but like, And when the confidence is there, it makes it obviously kills the risk. But I can't like when you just get to these spots, there's nothing else around you for.
I think that's
a lifetime.
I think that's a weird thing. I mean, nowadays with social media and like the fact that there's a video of that trip, I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Excited that happy that there's this record of that because it was an amazing experience, and I'm happy to share it with people. But I've always been kind of slightly resistant to publicizing things because it's like it's your trip, and like I think that was like maybe for me anyways, like a part of it was that you just do these things and it was you and your buddy, and then like when you got home your buddies would appreciate the gravitude or whatever of what you'd done.
Gravity
is it
gravity?
Yeah, gravity.
The immensity,
the radness of what you had just done.
How deadly it was.
Yeah, how deadly. yeah. And it like, but you like to me to seek more
notoriety,
validation or whatever beyond that seems kind of.
It's a bit selfish. It's a bit like kind of boastful. You look at something like Luka Lindick, right? That guy, that climber. That he's like, he doesn't like to say shit. And he's legit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like, see, that was always a thing in my mind, and maybe the way that I was brought up around climbing was it like
it's for yourself.
You never brag, like you never like spray.
No matter what, climbing, skiing, fucking working, running. You shouldn't like. I mean, you got to be confident, you got to be like proud of what you do, but like there's a point of like telling a story and explaining what you've done, then it is also like pushing your successes onto the world because they think people need to hear it.
I mean but it's something I struggle with because I do.
You don't do it for publicity.
I feel like, I mean, for me personally, like there's probably things that I could have sprayed about a little bit more and would have been like, just because it's awesome and like people actually appreciate it. Like I've got friends who are like, dude, what are you up to? And I'm like, well, I've been doing this or that. And
they're like, huh?
And then they're like, oh, that's awesome. Like you should post more pictures or whatever. And I'm like, well, like there's a million pictures out there. And like, does the world really need more pictures? And sorry, this is all leading up to like my new something I'm working on.
Cool.
Yeah. Which I'm trying to challenge myself. This is like a challenge actually for myself to try and be a little bit more open and sharing about the stuff that I'm working on. And
but you don't, the thing is I'll let you keep going, but you don't like the pressure to feel that way is strange because it's not coming from, it feels like our world in general is building this pressure. People need to promote what they're doing, it's like, or to fit in, you have to tell everybody what you're up to.
Yeah.
And I think you don't have to.
No.
It's only if you want to.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you want to right now, then that's cool.
Yeah.
If I know that you're not a guy who just bends to pressure, so it's cool that you are saying I think it's cool that you're just deciding that you want to do it, not because you're going to tell everybody, but because you decided you want to do it.
Yeah.
But like, it should just be because you want to, and if you want to, that's great.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So if you want to share it, and that's cool.
Yeah.
If you don't want to, then don't fucking share it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I think that's always
also gonna
been the trick.
The thing is too is like. With this podcast too, and friends who are writers, and like you open yourself up to criticism when you do these kind of things. Right?
Yeah, and I think that's like why I'm like challenging myself to do this is because it's scary to put something out there because when you create something and then you put it out there and then people can shit on it and like troll it and make comments and whatever and like.
Yeah,
no,
I'm waiting for that to happen to this. I haven't been shit on yet, but we'll see. Yeah,
and I mean, ideally, everyone loves it, but I think also, I mean, like I like doing art stuff. Like I went to art school, like design school, but it was an art school, and doing. I appreciate art that is provocative.
Sure. And
maybe you don't totally get it, but it gives you a feeling, and maybe it's like a funny feeling that. Yeah. You're like, oh, this is fucking weird, but I can't look away. Like, I'm into that. Like, I think that that's like kind of the point of art is not to just make something that's like, hey, that's really nice to look at. Like, it should maybe be like, it's weird a little bit. Like, what's going on? What is that?
I think if you're not creating controversy, for lack of a better term, if you're not creating like if you're not getting people to disagree with you, if no one disagrees with you, it's not that interesting.
Yeah.
You know, like if people disagree, then the person who agrees has to decide to disagree.
Yeah.
And then it makes it interesting. I think if you do art that just everyone's like, that's cool, it's like, if you don't take a stand, stay at the fence all the time, it's just, I think it's good to put it out there and be like, hey, like I follow this Instagram account called Porous Walker.
Okay.
It's fucking bizarre. All he does, he's a cartoonist. He has like it's just sexual things, but it's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre, like fireworks. It's really strange.
Yeah.
But it's the weirdest art I've seen in a long time, and I'm like, it's like, and it's funny.
Yeah.
And I think people got to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
And just do it. And if you're doing something cool, I don't know what you're doing. We've talked a bit about it, but I think it's like it's going to be a passion project to keep you happy with what you're doing as far as work goes too, right?
Yeah, and it's like it's like a lot of the stuff we've been talking about, like marketing and and branding and environment and like all of these sorts of things. It's like, for me, it's just a way of processing a lot of those exact topics,
right?
And kind of making a joke of it. And it's only probably really a joke for me.
No, people
like when people see it, they're probably like, that's just fucking weird. I don't get it. But for me, it's like an inside joke of an inside joke of an inside joke.
Right.
And, you know, like Julian's in on it.
Right.
And Ross is in on it. And it's like this kind of conversation that we've been having. And then now, like, I'm like, okay, I just got to put this out there. And like, people will be like, what the fuck?
So how long? I don't know what it is. You don't say, but where are you at in the process? Like,
so it's basically this brand
that
I've started.
Yeah.
Called Curlib, which is like an inside joke.
Okay.
Because Curlib stands for cool lib, like French for free running.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Because
it's like parkour.
Kind of like parkour, but like it came from when I was working at Solomon or at Arc'teryx at Solomon, and they had invented sky running and trail running and like all this stuff, and they like have all these words.
This is
and I'm like,
amazing, by the way. I can tell already. I'm excited for this.
So it's Curlib because it's French for free running.
Everything's funny in French.
Yeah.
For sure.
Also, it's a French double entendre for free heart.
Oh.
Curlib. Cool. Like they're kind of the same. So it's like CURLIB. Curlib. and then just like, because I'm such a product person, like designer, and I'm like, it drives me mad it doesn't drive me mad. Like I'm just like starting to appreciate marketing and branding and like the impact that can actually have and how it can totally eclipse product and design in some ways. Like if you just have like a really clever marketing branding story.
Dude,
so I'm trying to do my version of marketing branding.
I'm so excited to hear about this. Sorry, go on.
So it's like this kind of like I do have product. I'm making like singlets, like running singlets.
Sick.
Like really, like it's like the most basic thing you can ever make.
Are they good though? Like, are you making them?
Oh yeah, they're gonna be sick. Like I'm getting like some nice Italian, you know, like
that's gonna be the best part.
Fabrics and whatever. But then the branding is like just a bright yellow stripe of like,
of course, man,
yellow like day glow.
I'm not even surprised you're telling me this. The way I know you a little bit, like, it doesn't surprise me. This is hilarious.
Yeah, actually, hang on one sec.
Sure, yeah. Tony's just walking around the shop trying to show me what he's going to work on here. That bag is legit too, eh?
This is all my Curlib stuff.
Oh, you're quite far along.
Yeah, I mean like prototyping. So.
Oh, can I have one of them? You gotta make me some of that. Fuck yeah, that's cool.
So it's like super minimal. There's no, like, from a design perspective, it's like breaking all the rules. There's no like trims or anything.
Cool.
And then that's the brand. That's the logo.
Just that stripe?
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. And then the idea is that you can write on it and make your own message. So
oh yeah,
I've done ones where it's like winner.
Fuck. Dude, that's you don't have to put the headphones on every time you want. You can just leave them off because it's only for you to hear. But that's funny, man. So it's it. Oh, that is it just fucked up on purpose? Like, is it ripped?
I've had this for like 10 years. That's
What do you mean?
Then the idea is that you can re-logo. I can put this stripe on anything. Like if you have your old shirt, and then you can reuse your old thing, and it's like parasitic marketing. Like you can just like slap it on. And it's probably peeling off. I gotta like tack it on there a little better. But basically, the idea is you just bring your you can either get the singlet, which is like as minimal as like a product can be,
right?
Or you can bring your own shit, and I'll like put my logo over the top of whatever.
Fucking awesome.
It's like totally environmental because it's like reuse it, recycle.
Dude, this is so funny. I think that's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But it's just it's the best part is gonna work. That logo is just the orange stripe.
Yeah.
Or the whatever color it is, yellow stripe. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Where did I put my? Oh no, I didn't bring my hat. Like. We kind of like my buddy Ross Berg, who runs Altus, is like he's in on
Altus Mountain Guides. It's like a guide company.
Altus Mountain Guides, and so like I did my first like collab with Altus because I got one of his hats, and then I just put the yellow stripe over the Altus logo, and people are like, "Did you like cross that out, or is that like highlighting the Altus?" I'm like, I don't know. What do you think?
It's not for me to decide. Yeah. That's funny shit. So you're gonna make stuff. You're gonna make clothes.
I'm gonna make like a few things. We joked about making like a fanny pack that was always sold out. Putting on the website.
just make one of them.
Just take a picture of a fanny pack that's never actually available.
Well, the fanny packs make it. It's had a comeback already.
Yeah,
right?
I know it's kind of maybe beyond. So
no, but
I don't even need. I maybe don't even need to do that.
Man, that's pretty cool. So, are you? You're working on. You have a website. Are you gonna have a website and everything too? Like.
Yeah, we got the domain Curlib.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then I got the Instagram account as well, and I'm gonna put up.
So it's CURLIB.
CURLIB. Yeah.
Fuck, that's
it's like you gotta just throw a little like phlegm in your throat, like Curlib. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. I'm not sure. I can't wait to see how it turns out. So you're gonna do it here, like in this space that somebody brings.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be.
Yeah.
Good,
maybe.
I
mean, I've got a buddy down in the city who runs a little factory. I might get him to make the tank tops, but they're like, they're literally like. I might just do it here because they're like so
just basic,
stupidly basic. Yeah, I just cut them out.
It's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
it'd be super cheap. I guess you can however it turns out.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm like half tempted to just like give them away, or half tempted to make it like some sort of
that's cool, man.
donation thing for like an environmental cause or whatever. But I'm also like, I'm just fascinated now by like, marketing and branding and like, what is a brand? Like, what is like. It's just a story. It's just a symbol and a story and an idea. And like the product it's important, but also not important. And like,
I don't know. The elements of a brand are interesting to me. Like this is an interesting project you're talking about. Like, because it's very just like, it's very against the grain in my opinion, but it's almost a little bit of a mockery.
Yeah. It's totally, that's what I'm saying is like, this is me processing the industry that we work in and like, what is it like? How can somebody charge like $1,000 for a Supreme sweater? Like I actually want to buy a Supreme sweater and just put my Curlib logo over the top.
It's the first thing you should do.
Yeah,
it's the first thing you should do.
Hashtag Supreme /X Curlib.
That's fucking interesting. It does. The idea. I can't. It's like but the idea makes me think about. Like when brand elements come together, everyone is. People are so, I guess now, like people are less. I don't know, this is maybe generalization. I noticed that when you bring a brand in the market, they try to have like it's so dialed and polished that it's like that you can't fail from the beginning.
Yeah,
you got to be right on it.
Yeah.
I think when even I talk about this podcast. I just do it. I don't care if there's echoes. I don't care. I just do it. And if you listen to whatever. So the idea of like you don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, you care enough because you think it's funny.
Yeah.
And the idea like you're just doing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And when you don't, I guess at first when you don't care what the outcome is, I think, in my opinion, that's the best way to start.
Yeah.
You're like, if you have to have a vision or dream, whatever, that's fine. You have to have some kind of end goal or whatever. But I feel like if you're just doing it and it doesn't going to detract from your life, or you can still operate and you're like, you have a job, whatever else, I think that's going to be, it's somehow, I feel like that's the kind of shit that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's evolving. Like it started as
I'm not
like,
quite sure I understand what you're doing, but
that's the point.
Yeah, it's super good.
I don't understand what I'm doing. I guess that's the thing, is like, it keeps on kind of changing. Like from, good. I was like, maybe going to be some sort of legit brand. Right. I don't know. It's always kind of been a joke.
But people are scared.
It is a joke. It's an art project.
Sure.
To me, it's just an art project, but it's an art project commenting on all of these things. Like
people are scared to make mistakes. People want to be like, people are like, it's got to be so prim and proper. I got to get my buttons all done up or stuff. And I think people are scared to make mistakes, and you should be scared to make mistakes, but you should be okay with making them. Yeah. And I'm not saying you're making a mistake, but like, you just experiment with things, try something, like see what the fuck happens. Yeah. And I think your idea of, I've said this before, and it's kind of been the way I always think about it. Marketing is entertainment, right? Mm-hmm. And I can tell you a story. I can tell you about my product. I can give you a fact sheet. I can make a great image. I can do this, but my whole thing is just the baseline is entertain people, no matter what the message is. And I think the idea that some things aren't like everything's. My philosophy is things should be funny all the time. Yeah, like literally all the time, things should be funny
and absurd.
Yeah,
for me, anyway.
Yeah, it should be. It should be like it shouldn't like. I make fun and put fun, but I think things are so. When I think about brands, it's like when you take yourself too seriously, it's gonna fail.
Well, I guess that's
and just like why are we trying to be so prim and proper? Like just
that's my. I guess that's
let's
my
be casual about it.
My comment is like about like with Curlib is it's just like all these brands, like the brands that we've all worked for, it's all just like we're doing exercise. Like there's nothing life. I mean, there is life and death consequences, I guess, to mountain climbing. Like that's serious, but you're choosing to be there. Yeah. Like you should be there because it's like whatever type 1, 2, 3 fun, but like it's like it's for your personal enjoyment, right? Like you're not saving the world by going and climbing a mountain. So in the end, it's all kind of a huge joke. And like when people,
climbing's a farce. What's that guy's name who said that in you haven't seen Valley Uprising? Man, dude, you gotta watch it. I learned a lot about life in this show, in this movie. Yeah, but like he was talking about what's the guy's name there? You not Kerouac. The guy who's like a drunk and he climbed in Yosemite a bunch. Anyway, he would say climbing's a farce, you know. Yeah. And I mean, he's like, we're just climbing up mountains to do what? Maybe it was Royal Roberts. I can't remember who it was. But he's like, can we just come back down again?
Yeah, totally. It's all like it's all just like for your pleasure, right?
Deadly, literally. Like it is deadly.
Sure, it's deadly.
And a lot of things are deadly, but like it is kind of like it's somewhat pointless, other than for your own personal.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be deadly with like the dramatic like movie backdrops like, like there's none of that. It's just like you should be laughing the whole time. Like if you're not, you're kind of like you're sort of missing the point.
I think like that's why when we talk about, so we go back to this thing about sending emails with emojis and stuff, like why being professional is one thing and being courteous is one thing and being very respectful of people is one thing, but not being funny or not like just trying to be super prim and proper, I think it's fucking boring, man. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Like make mistakes, get yelled at, whatever, but just entertain people. And I think what that's going to do is like people are going to be entertained because they'll be like, what the fuck? Why is there a green or yellow stripe on this thing?
Wait, it goes further. I didn't show you like the last
right.
The last little bit. I'll show you this picture here that I took with Julian. We did a photo shoot. Here, check these out. This is gonna be the Curlib. Marvin, our guy is Marvin.
Dude. This is fucking great. I'm not gonna tell you what's going on. This is fucking hilarious. Oh, you lost your headphones. Oh, that's a good looking website, dude. That's really good.
That's just like the pictures from the Julian took the other day.
Can I be a model for this?
For sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. See, it's also got more layers because it's all like there is no model. It's just like you're faceless.
It looks like some kind of protest,
right?
Yeah, it is actually a protest.
It's kind of a protest. Yeah.
I'm gonna check the time on this. I don't know what I'm gonna go for, but what else you want to talk about? Anything else? I still got a bar stamp on my wrist from last night.
No. I was like, I was psyched to talk to you. I was also psyched to like I was saying, like push myself to publicize.
So it's out there.
Curlib. Yeah. So now it's out there. Like I have to follow through with like the pictures. Like I haven't, because the pictures kind of creep me out a little bit, to be honest.
Do you want me to do? Creep you out? They are kind of fucking weird, for sure. But we can put if you want me to. I don't know. Yeah,
we can link it or something. I've got to like make. Like I literally have the Instagram, and then
If you want me to put it out there, I can like when I do when I edit this, I can put like the URL and
sure. Yeah.
If you want me to, sure. Yeah. It'd be fucking hilarious. Cool. I'm down for sure.
Yeah. No, I want to do this. Like it's a thing.
That's the thing. So one thing I can tell you is from my experiences, the way I've done stuff is like and I'm sure you just kind of like just do it.
Yeah.
And I find that I've said it before is when I try to plan something,
it's
because I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And so I'm like, I'll plan so I can get myself an escape and get bored of it.
Yeah.
With the podcast, I was like, well, fuck
just
it.
Do it.
I just did it. And then make a plan. Because I would have done it because it gives you that time to say no.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
everyone's like, you got to go with the plan. And I'm like, I do. But if I go with the plan, I'm going to miss mistakes I should have made to learn these things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to miss the feedback and stuff. So I think for me, it's always like, if I'm going to, dude, what the fuck? I'm just joking. The best part is like, you can hear all this shit. So yeah, I think that's cool, man. I think that's like and I'm not validating your choices here, but I feel like that's how I would.
Well, that's why when we ran into you up in Whistler at the Cro-Mag, which I totally respect those guys for their like unique branding, cultish, whatever approach. And then we ran into you, and I was like, and then you're like, oh, dude, like you come on my podcast. And I was like, okay, this is a sign from somewhere that I
from a higher power,
from a higher power, like from Marvin the Martian or something that I need if I can get on there and talk to you and like
because this is
make it a thing.
This is a controlled environment because only maybe 100 people will see it, so it's perfect.
Yeah,
you can start small.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's hilarious. No, I think this thing is like I said, I think that if I notice it myself, I learned this actually as I get older. I didn't know this before, but now that I know. I'm learning that when I plan, it's because I don't feel like I'm going to do it.
Right.
That's
a good point.
You see, even like vacations.
Yeah.
I'm going to go here and I'll just buy a ticket and just go. And then I'm like, well, fuck it. I just don't know what I'm going to do. But I think that's like the procrastinator in me has tricked myself into thinking that planning is getting me ahead.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's getting me further behind.
Yeah. You're kind of ready. Like you're ready to do whatever you're going to do because there's always going to be a learning curve and there's always going to be mistakes made and whatnot.
It's not. I used to think it was reckless. I used to think, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's not even like, is it thought out? Are you methodical? You can be methodical and still just do things without thinking about them.
Yeah.
You just go and do it. I just think that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is like, you just do it.
Yeah.
And then like the fact that you're like, if I think about this too much, I won't do it. But you're like, yeah, come on, we'll do the podcast, and you just probably like put it out of your head and just go and do it.
Yeah. Like when you put it out there and you're like, I can either come down like basically tomorrow or later this week, and I was like, well, maybe later next week, and then I'll like have launched this thing or whatever. It's like, oh fuck it, like it doesn't even matter. Like let's do it. Like nobody cares.
Yeah, and
it's
honestly,
just me and my thing. And like if it forces me to get on my shit because now I've talked about it, I'm like, oh, I want to like follow up on that so that people aren't like, what was that thing?
I think it's gonna be great. I think it's cool. I'm stoked I got to come down and chat with you. I'm glad I bumped into you at the brewery. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that it happens once in a while. I bump into you. It's really good.
Yeah.
I think that I think this is a good podcast. I was stoked to chat with you for sure.
Yeah.
Something you missed? Do you want to cover? Like,
I don't think so.
Yeah, right. That's the thing is like I don't have an agenda, and I don't think you did either. Really, than push your wares here.
That was it. Curlib.
Curlib.
Hashtag Curlib.
It's too bad you can't find a way to put that accent visually. You know. You always have to put like a sausage and a German mustache beside or something. I don't fucking know. Maybe French, I don't fucking know. I don't even know why I said German.
You needs to be a like bent cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should, yeah. Fuck, dude. I think it's hilarious. I think the website looks pretty good, everyone. When you check it out, it's really interesting. But no, I'm stoked to chat with you, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is great. I think your design studio. So it's Squamish Design Studio, or sorry,
Squamish Design Studio, Squad Studio.
And what do you like? So just give me a quick synopsis of like the scope of your business, if you can. Just like not who you work with, or whatever, but just like kind of what you guys offer.
We did like up until recently, we've done like basically conceptual, like, well, not just conceptual, but like design from like start to finish, handing it off to a production team. Like we don't do all the like material sourcing and that sort of stuff.
You make the prototypes, you make design, you make how it's going to work. You do
we do sewing. We sew everything. We make patterns. I mean, to a conceptual level,
sure.
Like the final patterns get made in factory. But I mean, because of like some of our experiences, like I'm really stoked to start doing my own things and move away from maybe that particular part. I don't know.
I think it's cool. I think like as you get older and you do these jobs where you work for the companies, you're like, I think even for me, like, so I do this podcast, I do things. I'm like, I just sort of decided, I'm like, I do different stuff for myself. Like, why would I?
Yeah.
Like, sure, you got to work for the people or work, not other people, but you have to work to get things done.
But the most stress and heartache is not the work itself. It's the dealing with the people and the complexity of the relationships and like all of that stuff. And I'm just like, if I could not have to deal with that and just do like the design part and the fun part, for me, that would be good.
And that's the thing is, if that's what makes if that's fun to you, then that keeps you motivated to do other stuff. Like gives you the space to move around in your brain as far as like, I do this fun thing. You have to go back to work tomorrow and I have to deal with this and get the stuff done, which is all fine. Yeah. But giving yourself that the space to just entertain yourself. Yeah. Because if you can't entertain yourself, who the fuck you can't entertain anybody, right? So and to keep yourself busy and to give yourself like a passion project. And this is your humor is hilarious, and I've always seen like you've always been like the guy who's like a little bit outside the outside the circle. Yeah. Not just like in your ideas and the way you operate, which is awesome. I think that's like this doesn't surprise me. It's awesome. I think it's gonna be cool, man. I think it'll be really cool. Yeah. And if it's an art project, it doesn't need to be something bigger than that. Yeah. It can be whatever you want it to be. Yeah. You know? And if it's a website, it's so fucking it's like, it's really bizarre to me, dude. It's funny, and I think it's going to be great. To be honest, it's fucking cool. I'm stoked to check it out. Perfect. I'm excited to check it out. Sorry. So you guys, Squamish Design Studio, and you guys, basically like concept to, you make prototype, and then
prototype, and then tech pack handoff.
Right. Cool.
And
mostly for startups or bigger brands, whatever, come to you.
We've been working mostly with startups.
Yeah. Is it international or mostly in Canada?
Well, in Canada and the U.S.
Okay, right, sure. Yeah. Like North America. Yeah.
Right, but no, I'm amongst other. I mean, Curlib is like my art project. I have a couple other things that I'm starting to really get psyched on. Yeah. And like in that, like I don't know, like just in this new world where it feels like you can, whether it's Kickstarter or fund somehow a project
or give me
whatever, or venture capitalist or whatever, like
give me your cash.com.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ways that that is possible to start your own company now. There's always been, but like now more than maybe like
people want to make money. There's investors out there who are trying to make money, and
and if you have a good idea and you, anyways, I'm kind of psyched to explore that side of things because I have lots of ideas and I think some of them are pretty good, and I just want to like if I could like make some killer idea and product and brand it, like that's what Curlib is, kind of like an experiment in branding. Sure. Like literally it's like
or like anti-branding, or
anti-branding, or just like testing the limits of it and seeing what is it, like what makes a brand, because a lot of the times it's like a weird thing, like it's a very ethereal, like people who figure they can like nail it down are probably behind the curve, like they've got some formula and they're probably like not gonna actually take it to the next level because it's changing. It's like an always changing environment of like what's the best way to get it out there, and like depending on what you're making and who you're trying to sell it to. Like there's like a whole bunch of factors, and Curlib for me is just like a experiment in all of those things to play with that. And then hopefully when I make some of these other things, it won't be quite as like artsy. It'll be a little
You'll learn
more
a lot
hardcore.
from this.
Yeah, I'll learn some stuff. And
I think that's the thing. I think that's good. Like if you have ideas and passions you want to do, and you can continue your what you're doing here, and it is. There are a lot of people who want to just find the next idea.
Yeah.
And they don't really know if it's good or not. They just put money behind it, I guess. And the people who plan that things never happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I think just putting your shit out there is
the
only way to do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like just start.
You might get hassled for it, but you learn.
I hope so. I honestly like. I don't want to get like shit on, but I kind of want people to be like, your reaction, like, I don't get it, but it's funny, I guess, or kind of uncomfortable and weird.
Honestly,
and like it's
the more I listen, like I watch a lot of podcasts now. The more I listen to people like comedian stuff, the more I listen to people talk about like, the people who are like, I don't get that, it's stupid, and they walk away. You're like, then those people who aren't going to be into your thing.
Yeah.
And that's not your fault or their fault. It's just because they don't want to be part of it.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people who want to be.
Yeah.
Like,
and there's so much stuff out there now. Like anyone can do anything. And honestly, like some of the stuff that's like you're maybe not that into at first. And then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, fuck, that's actually huge. And like everyone's into it. And then you kind of like are like, oh, fuck, well, no, I'm kind of into it.
It's like fanny packs, dude. Whoever invented those things have come and gone, and they made a resurgence. Like, it's weird, man.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, yeah. Thanks again for chatting.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. We have been probably about an hour and 45 minutes, probably an hour and a half.
Yeah, sure.
We can keep going if you want to chat, but we should save it for another time.
Another time.
I can't keep drinking beer either. But no, man, you've got great space. Squamish Design Studio, Tony Richardson, and Trina. You guys, it's two of you guys, right?
Just two, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and sometimes my brother.
Right. Yeah,
Robin.
Okay, cool. Well, awesome. Do you have a website for this place?
We started. We have pictures and like stuff for it, but
of course.
we never got around to finishing that.
Of course, but you put the website for this because it's more entertaining. But the thing is, like, you don't need to. Like, that's the thing is, I think everyone tries to check these boxes of what a business is, what a brand is.
Yeah,
it's whatever the fuck you want it to be. If you're the person making the brand, or just make it. It doesn't have to have these.
Yeah.
There are like, I guess there's design principles and there's like business principles and marketing principles, stuff like that.
But I think they're made to be broken. Honestly, I think that's what. And again, like, not to keep harping on this, but like for me, Curlib is like, whether it's the design, like no, like raw edges and like all that kind of stuff, to the branding and the whole thing of it is just like, why does it have to be in a certain way? Like, do you have to like?
It doesn't have to.
You have to build like all of this.
You don't have to do shit. You just do whatever you want.
Yeah, you just do whatever you want.
As long as you're not offending anybody, and it's what you want to do, you just do it.
Yeah.
Everyone can relate to something, and I feel like even like there's like millions of podcasts out there, right?
Yeah.
There's listeners. Maybe one podcast has 2 listeners. I have like 7.
Yeah.
So people relate somehow. But like, I think that's like something's out there for everybody. And if you're doing something, people relate. If you think of it, it's like when I think about jokes a lot and think about, is that gonna be funny? Well, if I thought of it, for the most part, someone, even if it's super obscure, it's probably been thought of in some form or another along the way that people like, never thought about making it a joke or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Everyone can relate some way. So, Curlib, whatever. It's so funny. So, people relate. They'll think it's funny. And I think you're just entertaining people. It's like, you're an entertaining guy, so I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah. Cool, man. Thanks, buddy.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan.